Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Burns Reviews. My name is John on Burns Reviews. If you're new to the channel, want early reviews just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, give the video a like, really appreciate it. And without any further ado, we are talking about the much awaited Zack Snyder Justice League, the movie that came out 3 to 4 years ago, was not well received. You know the deal, you know why you're here. We're gonna get right into it. Okay, it is a 4-hour feature film, and right out the gate, don't let that deter you. Just adjust your mindset for that. This plays like going to one of your favorite rock concerts. I kid you not. It is like non-stop, just really enjoyable. I don't know how to really describe it because it's such a unique situation. You don't often get something like this that's not a miniseries or a season of TV. This kind of made me feel like I was watching Stranger Things Season 3, 4th of July weekend. You just kind of binge a couple. It keeps moving. Everything is vastly improved from the original movie. In fact, the original movie is a completely different movie. Granted, there are plot points of like, oh yeah, they did that in the original, and in a nutshell, I was highly expecting this to be a movie that was going to feel like a director's cut, in the sense that, yeah, it's the same scenes, it's the same movie, but like there's little things that are kind of just expanded. Maybe they didn't yell cut as soon, maybe they kind of added a line of dialogue here and there, and there is a little bit of that. But far and large, this movie is a completely different movie in so many ways compared to the one that Joss Whedon gave us in 2017. They were not kidding when they said they did reshoots, because it feels like they kind of reshot more than half the movie when they did the 2017 version with Joss Whedon. And this 4-hour film, it's hard to believe that they cut all this out and just left it. I completely understand why. All the drama with Ray Fisher, completely warranted. He is very much the heart of this movie. Compared to the original film, he's kind of not in it at all. He's basically just a robot. And if you don't know the character, you're kind of just left in the wind going, what's going on? Why is this guy? What's the context of this guy? This really shows you a lot, and I really appreciated how this movie took the time to really spend time with each individual character. This is the best time I've ever seen Ben Affleck as Batman and Bruce Wayne. He feels organic. I don't know if he went back for reshoots. He must have gone for a couple, but I don't know what exactly. It feels like a very different Ben Affleck. That could be just because when he went back to go do the reshoots with Joss Whedon, he just was disenfranchised by the whole thing. I really understand why, after all this, he decided to step away as playing the role of Batman, because, man, if you filmed an entire movie and it was actually good, and you were following a director that you believed in, and then a bunch of studio heads came in and told you, well, it didn't test very well, so we're gonna reshoot 60% of the movie with a director who doesn't really want to be here, apparently. And then, personalities kind of clash on set. Joss Whedon apparently was not the easiest guy to get along with, apparently, according to Ray Fisher and other reports. I'm putting that lightly, because I don't really know, but that seems to be the case. I completely understand why Ben Affleck would just be like, I'm done. I'm just done. But in this movie, he looks like he has like more life in him than he ever did playing the character. Like, he feels like Batman from the comics, and it's odd that he doesn't feel like Christian Bale or Michael Keaton or Kevin Conroy. He feels like straight off the page, like the dialogue, the way he acts. I think when Joss Whedon, what he did, he probably looked at the movie, he looked at the script and said, all right, you know what? We got this story. These are the main plot points. We're going to strip all this away, and we're going to refilm it so that we can make a 7-minute scene a 2-minute scene. Because the original one, by comparison, feels like an assembly line or a supercut of scenes. Like a previously on type of video. And it's not enjoyable to watch it. If there's one thing I can say about this movie, is that it is it's given the time to breathe, and I really enjoyed that. It felt like I spent 4 hours just reading front to cover a thick graphic novel with these characters, and I really enjoyed the backstories. I really enjoyed the added subplots. I don't really want to get into it as far as spoilers, but there is additional subplots along the way. Characters are further explored. Even minor characters are explored. We get a little bit more with what's his name? Cyborg's dad, which I think that was kind of cool. We get a little bit more James Gordon. Of course, we get Jared Leto in the end. Gotta talk about that. The scene in the trailer is not the scene in the movie. They must have used an alternate take or something like that, because what we get in the movie is way cooler. And as much as I still don't love Jared Leto's interpretation of the Joker, it is better. It's more subdued. And in the later half of his scene, I do feel like he was kind of channeling Heath Ledger, which is fine, because I think that's the version we kind of want. He didn't try to make it too zany. We kind of have him in like this nightmare world type of interpretation, kind of like in the dark world version of Batman versus Superman. So I thought that was an enjoyable scene. There's one joke that he cracks at Batman, and I'm just like, you'll know it when you hear it. It's mildly crude. It's not really funny. It's awkward and out of place, and you're just like, oh, there's Jared Leto again. That's the Jared Leto Joker that we know and hate. But all in all, it's a vast improvement. Batman does drop the F-bomb. He does drop it when talking to Jared Leto, so that's fun. I thought that was perfectly placed. I kind of went, yeah! I was like, good. Ezra Miller, I think is better. We get more of his character. I was never really a giant fan of Ezra Miller as the Flash. I always felt like he was miscast, or the sensibility, the sense of humor never felt like the Flash that I grew up with, say like, in the comics, or even like the cartoon from the 90s and stuff like that. It just felt like a different direction that never felt right. It's fine, but it's very much its own thing, I guess. Aquaman, always great. Wonder Woman, always great. Lex Luthor, he's in this again. He's not in it a lot. He's basically in the same scene that that he was in the post-credit scene with the boat. But they use a different take, and the dialogue is different. The things that kind of... I don't want to give away too much, but they definitely use different footage, and that was nice and refreshing. I think all the footage feels pretty fresh. So I'm gushing over this movie. I really enjoyed it. I went into this going, they can't fix something that is this broken, but yeah, like I said, I think they really, just two completely separate movies, and this was really enjoyable. I don't think I would actually go to a movie theater and sit in the theater for 4 hours if this was like a different situation, a world that was different. I don't see myself doing that, even with the 10-minute intermission that they have. I think this is kind of like the perfect storm that came together of this playing out the way that it did. This is exactly where it needs to be. It is broken up into 6 parts, which is nice. I'm glad they didn't break it up into episodes, because that kind of would have been a little frustrating in a certain way. This movie could have been 2 movies. I feel like they could have cut it around the point of we need Superman. Or maybe they just bring him back, and it's that scene that where like he's about to fight him on the steps. Around there, they could have made that like part 1, part 2. I don't think that would have been ideal, but I could see that being a thing that maybe was thought at one point, because it feels like 2 movies. It feels like a part 1, part 2. Yeah, I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie, and I didn't have very high expectations. I don't really love a handful of the DCEU movies. I feel like they're more misses than hits, which is disheartening, because I grew up on all the other Batman movies and Superman movies, so it's kind of, disheartening, but they really got it right. They really got back on course, and I'm glad they did it. If that's any other takeaway I can tell you guys, I'm glad they did it. I definitely think you should check it out. It's probably free on HBO. If you have HBO, you probably have HBOmax. And yeah, I watched it in one sitting. I did go back and watch it again, but not the whole movie. I watched maybe the last hour and a half going forward. I didn't need the first half of it again, because it is a long movie, and personally, I was like, all right, there was a point where, like, after 2.5 hours of watching this movie, my brain kind of like turned to mush. So I had to go back to like the midpoint, because they start talking about like the science of like the mother box and the, that kind of stuff. I'm like, I need to be more focused for the exposition dump that's like here and there, which again is no discredit to the movie. The movie is incredibly well paced, but it is a 4-hour movie. Going into negatives, they're very few and far between. The choice of music, I think, is a little questionable. It's not a soundtrack that I would have picked. And on top of that, there's one scene in particular that kind of stands out, where the scene early on in the movie where Bruce Wayne goes to recruit Aquaman, and, he goes to see him in his own village, and he's like, "You're crazy, Bruce Wayne! Dressed like a bat!" And he kind of, like, goes away. Bruce Wayne is standing there, and the villagers are in the background, and, like, this little girl kind of, like, walks up, and she just starts singing, like, a folk song, and it kind of just goes on, and I'm like, why are we doing this? And some of the songs that are used are kind of like, Hallelujah is in the very end. They use it on the credits, but there are songs like that, like these like folk songs that sometimes they work great, and sometimes it just feels like, nah. And it feels like it's a combination of that kind of music or music from the soundtrack Gladiator, which is not bad, but, you do feel it when you watch a 4-hour movie. You start picking up on stuff like that. And again, these are small nitpicks, things I probably would have done differently, but in no way hinders the movie. The movie is, like I said, 4 hours long, and the entire movie is in IMAX format. It is a square, like 4x4 or 3x3, any way you want to look at it. I guess for the intention of IMAX. I'm not sure if the entire thing was filmed in IMAX, but the entire duration, it doesn't switch aspect ratios. You're in a square mother box cube for 4 hours long. You get used to it. It's kind of like watching The Simpsons or something like that. It's fine. But yeah, guys, I think I might put out a spoiler talk video. If I do, the link will be right here or down below. I think I'm also going to put out a ranking video for all the DCEU movies, because this is a bit of a game changer. Yeah, so keep an eye out for that below. Let me know what you think of Justice League, Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League. Comment down below. Are you going to check it out? It drops on HBOmax this Thursday. I don't know if it goes out at midnight. I have to look at double check, but this Thursday is the release of the Snyder Cut. Are you going to go watch it? Check it out. Comment down below. Did you like this movie? Did you not like this movie? This was definitely worth it. I don't know if they should do the air cut for Suicide Squad, but I'd check it out. I mean, this definitely gives me some hope that maybe it could be better. And Superman is great, man. I love how Superman is just like nothing but hope. No matter what the odds are, man, he's so like, it's like Captain America. And I think this movie really does capture that better than, say, Man of Steel. And yeah, I'm done, man. I'm gonna give this movie a hinders between a B+ and an A-. I don't think I can go A-. I think I can go B+. It's like a solid 85-ish, tomato score if I had to pick one. It's up there. It's not The Dark Knight. It's not the Avengers either. But I will say this much: I do think it is better than Endgame in so many ways. Not Infinity War, but at least it's more of a cohesive story, where like Endgame is kind of 3 separate movies, and if you've seen them all, it kind of works, but it kind of doesn't work as its own movie. This movie works as its own movie. It's just long, yeah, and very little nitpicks. Yeah, I got some scenes with like Lois Lane just kind of moping around, feeling bad about Superman being gone, and it's like, all right, this could have been trimmed down or cut out, and like we get it. But again, this is very much a nitpick. I really enjoyed this movie. I'm probably going to watch it again over this weekend, and I highly recommend it to you. Comment down below. What do you think? Zack Snyder's Justice League. I've been John. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.